Hey friends, Lucian here with the Bullish Bears team. Wanted to make this video on the falling wedge pattern. So let's take a look at CC, right? Price is in an overall uptrend. You can see there's this period of consolidation back down to the moving average lines. It looks very, very similar to a flag, right? If you've seen what a flag looks like, it looks very similar to a flag. This is where I try to tell people, don't get bogged down like, oh no, is that a wedge or is that a flag, right? Again, it's just look and see what's actually happening. Look at the overall uptrend or downtrend or what's happening. Look at the pattern, see what it's trying to tell you. This is saying a stock's moving up, wants to pull back towards these moving average lines. You want to find these trend lines and then look out for breakout areas, right? This is a perfect looking falling wedge pattern. So if you want to call it a flag, call it a flag. That's fine. But it's telling you the same story as what a flag would tell you. I stress this over and over, like I say it over and over in a lot of my videos. Don't get bogged down. Don't get bogged down because it's very important. And I say it for a reason because it took me a while. I have a brain that's got to it's kind of obsessive. So it has to know everything, meaning what is a wedge exactly? What is a flag exactly? What is a pennant? What is a triangle exactly? And it's got to go through all the patterns. And at the end of the day, then my brain kind of realizes oh, okay, it doesn't necessarily really matter what I call it. What's most important is what's actually happening, right? That's the most important. Support and resistance, what's going on. Very important. That's the name of the game with everything when trading. It's all about support and resistance. So price is moving up, consolidation downwards, forming like a wedge pattern here. Looks like a flag, very similar. All right, let's look at several other examples here. Let's pull up Q or NRE. Let's do NRE. All right, so this one's kind of trading like bonkers, right? It's all up and down over here, right? But then you can see it's starting to move up over here, so kind of an uptrend, pulling backwards, this big kind of wedge pattern, followed by a breakout. Now, it's not going to always 100% do what you think it's going to do. Sometimes you can get a wedge pattern like this. It looks like it's going to break out and it can break down, right? With patterns, nothing's ever 100% foolproof. You got to use the patterns to your advantage. They help tell a very powerful story, but many a times patterns break down. That's why support and resistance, absolutely key, the name of the game to trading. Price is moving upwards, falling down here into a wedge, followed by a breakout, right? Let's look at several other examples because repetition is key. QEP. Right here, right? So this one right here, this is a perfect example. I didn't even know I did this, but I'm glad I showed this, right? Price is moving upwards right here, followed by looks like a wedge. But you notice how this wedge almost looks like a triangle? Again, I have my trend lines I have them extended so it could make it look like something that it might not be, but it kind of looks like a triangle, right? So you can say, well, that's a triangle, or is that a wedge, or is that a flag, or is it a pennant, right? Doesn't matter. Find these lines, whatever you want to call it, right? When you want to call it a wedge or a pennant or a triangle or a flag, it's telling you the same story. Price is moving up, coming back down, getting this choppiness and this consolidation, followed by a breakout here. And as you can see, it went upwards, but actually price, still continued downwards after that, right? So doesn't mean, oh, wow, and it's going to stay in an uptrend forever, right? You got to watch it and then find out other support and resistance areas. As you can see here, major resistance area, this formed a double top failure, right? The second peak failed the top one over here, failure. If you don't know what a double top is, take our candlesticks course. We teach you all about it. VVV, triple V's. Look at this major one, right? This one's kind of moving upwards, and look at this huge wedge pattern. Or is that a pennant? Or is it a triangle, right? Looks like a triangle, looks like a pennant as well. Is that a flag? Is that a bull flag? Whatever you want to call it, look at it, right? Find these support resistance lines, find the channels. Look, as you can see, this stock went and it broke out, right? Support and resistance, super, super important. Let's look at several more examples. PAYX. This one right here, stock's in an uptrend, pulls back, really nice wedge, followed by a breakout up here. And look, broke out, went crazy, and then went boom, went bonkers, and it completely tanked. So it doesn't always mean doesn't mean it's always going to go up and just completely going up forever. Many times stocks fail, right? And that's why it's important to have these trend lines drawn so you can see many times the stock will break out, retest a previous breakout area, and if that fails, that's not a good sign. Hence, look what you see here. Very important. A. So this one is a little bit weird right here. So this is in an overall uptrend, but then it went kind of like something over here, trading sideways, right? Indecision mode. So you can see over here, it did go up a little bit, followed by a wedge, but it's not as typical like your other ones were, right? Again, I want to show you real world, kind of came down, kind of formed a wedge into almost a double bottom. Then it went up from there. Just a different way to look at it, right? Got to just draw these lines. So if this is not technically a falling wedge, that's okay. Just look at it, see what it's trying to tell you. Again, a falling wedge is typical in an uptrend. This wasn't an uptrend. It did some consolidation here. It's forming other patterns. Be aware of these other patterns. This double bottom pattern. You know, you got these trend lines drawn here. You're looking to see that this is now more of a potential double bottom break, right? So this is kind of like a double bottom and it's moving upwards, but there's kind of like a wedge within that double bottom, right? All important, really important to find these patterns. And let's look at a couple more here. EMR. So this one right here, if I zoom in over here, kind of moving upwards a little bit, nothing crazy. It wasn't a downtrend, then it kind of reversed, went up a little bit, followed by a wedge right here, broke out a little bit, and then it failed and went back down, right? So, you know, again, there's going to be falling wedges within a very big overall uptrend, then there's going to be smaller ones, and there might be periods of consolidation. That's the stock market. That's how the stock market works, right? Nothing's ever perfect. GPK, this is a very kind of messy looking one, but show you something that looks messy. Kind of prices heading downwards here. You have a reversal going up, and look, it's choppy. It's kind of tough to connect these lines and stuff like that. But if you can kind of connect them a little bit, you can see breakout area, retest, breakout, comes back down, retests. Over and over and over, these trend lines. So incredibly important. And last but not least, EFII. This one's a little bit weirder looking as well. I don't have what it looks like over here on my charts, but it's kind of moving upwards right here, followed by this wedge kind of pattern down, breaks out a little bit, consolidates, got all messy, right? This is the real world charts. Many of these charts you're going to see are just going to be messy and choppy and all of that. A stock like this is going to be incredibly hard to trade with all these wicks and shadows. Really, really crazy. But, you know, it's very important to be aware of.